Hello. How are you all?
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you too. Where are you guys from?
University of North Texas.
Awesome. Great. I'm Elizabeth and I'm from Georgia State University.
Great.
Great. Were you all at the ATURU?
No, I think you spoke about a project that I'm a part of at A2RU
Oh,
with Jonathan Martin.
Jonathan, yeah, he was on a panel with me. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Awesome.
he talked about the Wave from Space to Ocean project.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm one of the collaborators on that project. So that's how I found out about this group, and I thought, oh, we need to be a part of this group somehow. It'd be great.
Well, great. I'm so glad that y'all are here. And I see tell me your name, H. Schuster. You're on mute. You're on mute.
I know. I'm Heidi Schuster. I'm from Twin Cities Public Television.
Oh, okay. Great. You've been here before. Have you been to one of our meetings before? No.
No,
Okay. Great. Well, welcome.
there might be someone else from public TV that was here.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Well, great. I'm just gonna keep letting folks in and we'll give everybody a little bit of time to get here. And so and how did you hear about this how did you hear about IXA Alliance, Heidi?
Sylvia Strobel sent me a link to the meeting.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay. Hi, Pat.
Hi, sorry, I'm finishing my lunch.
No, no,
I'll
yeah,
show my
carry on,
beautiful face
carry
in one
on.
second.
I'm just saying hi to everybody because we've got a lot of new people, which is great today. Very exciting. Hi, David. And how did you hear about IXA Alliance?
I think this is my second meeting.
Okay.
I know Aaron Riley
Okay.
at UT, and I'm getting a lot more involved in the university XR ecosystems as a part of RP1, if you're familiar with that company.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Okay.
So,
Very nice.
pleasure to be here. Excited to continue to join these meetings as well.
Well, we're excited to have uh, some, people can get to know about us and start coming and joining. And hopefully today we'll get to have a little bit of a conversation at the end of the presentation. I want to leave a lot of room for discussion today.
Perfect.
Yeah. Hi, Jensil.
Hello.
How many times have you been to one of our meetings?
Oh, this is my second.
Okay. I definitely remember you from, I think last time.
I think that last one was like a tools and, software. I think
Um,
that session about like, exploring different tools each institute uses.
oh, right. Yes, exactly. What we all talked about what tools we were using. Yeah, that was great.
And I sent in my another faculty member from our institute on behalf of me once, but I don't remember when was it.
Okay. Well, keep spreading the word. It's great. I see there's so many new faces today. It's this is wonderful. Um, I'm going to probably get started at 4:05 and but I just want to give you all a little lay of the land here as we get started. So the IXA Alliance got started about a year ago, a little over actually a year and a half ago at South by Southwest. And it was for universities and realizing that it's so complicated to get your head around what tools people are using, what are the frameworks people are using to teach these concepts, how people are navigating um, within the university on where immersive experience or virtual reality sits within a university, um, how to partner with industry, Um, Also, where to publish in order to, especially for tenure track faculty, to figure out how to, where they might be able to publish, and just where people are getting their information from, and all of this. So that's why the IXAlliance got started. And so we're working on all of those. The programming meeting really meant to kind of take a dive into some different portion of some facet of immersive experiences. And but we recently received a grant from IGOG to do a journal. And so that's really exciting. So this group of people will determine sort of what the topics are going to be in the journal, figure out how many articles will get published, the format in which that's going to be, and how we're going to distribute it. So we'll keep you all posted about all of that. And so that's because we're also going to be looking for people to write articles. And also, we're probably going to do 2 peer-reviewed articles per issue, and there'll probably be 2 issues per year. But we're also thinking about a lot of other shorter form, even interactive types of content that can go along with the journal. So that's what we're working on. But so I'm going to go ahead and uh, introduce myself and get the talk started, because I really would like to have some conversation at the end if there's time. So what I'm going to be talking about is how AI is impacting the creative industries as a whole. So I'm not speaking completely specifically about immersive technologies or immersive experiences, although I think much of this applies. And I'm also speaking from the this is advice for the creator and the creative economy, and trying to understand the trends that are happening. So that's I'm just framing that up before I get started. So let me get my screen going here. Okay. Whoops. Hold on 1 second. Let me just share my screen. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, this is this is a little bit about business as well as art. But this is a framework that I've been working on, and excited to get you all's feedback and just have a conversation. So I'm at the Georgia State University, and I am jointly appointed in the Creative Media Industries Institute, which is in the College of Arts and Sciences, and in the business school. So I focus a lot on entrepreneurship and innovation within the media space. Oh, let me stop for 1 second so I can let me see if I can share my audio real quick. Sorry. I'm just going to play a little bit of this because I think it sets the stage nicely.
Do you remember this scene? A woman steps into a shadowed room. The faint outline of a chandelier casts fragile patterns on her face. Her expression is one of hesitation, a moment suspended, as though she is about to speak, but never will. The music swells, soft violins, trembling on the edge of some unknown resolution. Do you remember it? Surely you must. And yet, you don't. 'Cause this film was never made. What does it mean to forget something that never existed? A frame, a scene, an entire story lost not to time, but to absence?
Okay, so you get the point. All of that was made by AI. And so the question is, what is happening to all of our imaginations when they don't come to fruition? And so that sort of really sets the stage for the conversation that we're going to have, because these AI and when I say AI, I mean like large language models, which create the text that we use, and then large vision modules, which create the images and the video that we're using, and then world models, which sort of integrate not just image and video, but also understanding of the world and how gravity works and light refracts and things like that. So, what is happening with our industry and also our art when this is happening, and prompting becomes directing almost, like lucid dreaming. So, but we do have an economy, which is a huge economy. And this disruption is just spreading across all of the creative industries, all industries, but, we're going to talk about creative industries right now. And I'm going to give a little bit of a framework of the history so that we can understand sort of where we're at right now. So, the past 10 years, the disruption in the media industry was mostly about distribution. So it still cost a lot of money to make content, but distribution was much easier and faster from the theaters and then to Netflix, and then from Netflix to YouTube to TikTok. So the distribution of media was really coming out fast, but the creation of content is now what is being disrupted. So the cost of creating content is going down dramatically and consistently. And that is where the disruption is going to be in the next 10 years. So we can anticipate that. So yeah, distribution, the past 10 years through, Netflix, YouTube, TikTok, creation, the next 10 years, Sora, VO3, Midjourney, Runway, and those names are expanding exponentially every day. So what does it mean when basically content is becoming infinite? You can create content quickly. We'll get into the types of content and whether it's good or not, but it doesn't matter. Content is going up exponentially, but our attention is capped. During the pandemic is about the time when we capped at about 75% of our screen time, our waking hours on a screen. So we're not going to be paying any more attention on a screen or anything else beyond the things that we have to get done. So there is when there's infinite amounts of content and things to do and a finite amount of attention, it puts a stress on the economic value of content. So, and this is actually, so this talk is typically made for the film and television folks. But what's great is it puts a huge rise and emphasis on the kinds of things that immersive experiences create. It's including in real life activities. So, including screenings that have some kind of extra component or live component connected to it. Also, personalized content, content made specifically for you, specifically for your, your tribe or your group of people. Something where fans or different people can engage. Tangible compliments. Again, this is why in the music industry, the live performance is where the money is made, and it is basically the merch, special vinyl, posters, all that is where, and then live. That's where money is made, but not in the digital component of the um, of the work. And then, of course, community, feeling of belonging, co-creation, and even education. And we'll talk a little bit about that as we go forward. So, when you're making content, whether it's traditional 2D or 3D, it's not how to make something with AI, but what can you make because of AI that is new to the world or different, or what is it enabling for you? And what are the things that were not possible that now are?
Right now, I'm parachuting into a volcano, and it's a perfect moment to talk about skeuomorphism. At the beginning of cinema, people thought movies would just be recorded plays. One shot, one stage, like a ticket you could rewind. They were wrong. The media.
So that is skeuomorphism. And basically, when people thought about got movie cameras and they were recording a play, they just put the camera there and then recorded the play and thought that that was the value that the movie camera gained, which was maybe permanence or something along those lines. But that's not true at all. What ended up, it's a whole new medium because you can move the camera, you can zoom in, you can, cut from one scene to the other, or cut from one location to another. So that is the way to think about AI generated content, is not necessarily how do you mimic, a 2D film or a 3D world, but what can you do that is completely remarkable and new to the world? And it takes time and imagination for these things to come about. So I'm just gonna tease this up, and then this is what we're gonna kind of talk about after I talk about the 5 shifts. But yeah, AI is definitely dissolving boundaries. And I want to get back to this after I go through the 5 shifts. Okay, so these and everything that I'm saying, we're in transition. And the shifts I'm going to talk about are from craft to curation, from IP to influence, from labor to leverage, from workflow to world building, and audience to ecosystem. All right, craft to curation. So because it is so easy to create these content, and again, there's a variety of levels of quality, but still we're seeing this happen every day. The quality gets better. So your skill is in curating what is good, what is meaningful, what is saying something new or valuable. What is it that you want to share? And so, really now, because there is so much stuff, it is your ability to not show stuff or to cull out all of the bad stuff or the not important stuff to get to the right stuff. So, curation is a huge skill. And students often ask, and we all ask, how does one build taste? I don't know why my hand is up. Hold on one second. I guess I lifted my hand in it. Oh, well, it's just going to have to stay. I don't know how to move it. Anyway, so how does one build taste? Well, that's the job of educators, which is to consume the things that you want to create. write as Austin Kleon says, write the book you want to read. Consume medium, get to know what is good. Of course, education helps in trying to understand what in the past has been something that makes something really the nuance that makes something much more resonant with an audience than not. But you know, by consuming things and then trying to mimic or make the things that you want to make, that's how you build your taste. And then you share your work and get your feedback and continue to find out what is the impact that you want to have on the people you're showing your work to. And then the last one, and this is really important to me, is lean into your weird, because one of the things that AI does best is mid-level content. It can get a bad photographer to be a mid-level photographer. It can get a bad musician to be a mid-level musician. But it can't get a bad filmmaker to be a great filmmaker. But a filmmaker can use these AI tools to become a great filmmaker. But you need to lean into, again, your taste, your weirdness, what's completely unique to you. Because what we all know, particularly in 3D world building, is that when you spend so much time trying to mess something up and make it look unique and not just like it's just a canned, I don't know, picture of, a dog or whatever. You want it to be really unique. So lean into your weird. It's kind of the only thing any of us have at this point in time is our flaws and our weirdness. And yeah, it's curating perception. So this is going to be for the latter part when we start to talk about immersion. This is Midjourney, and this is just their homepage. And this is what basically you can make, right? And this shows you the types of content that's made. But this is AI slop, which has become its own genre. And people actually, there's a whole curation of just AI slop, and whether it's kind of making commentary on our society, etc. This is my Midjourney. So you can tell I have different taste than other people, but everybody's Midjourney should look really different and unique like them. And so that's where taste comes into play, and then trying to put something together that resonates with people. Okay, so the next one is IP to influence. And this can get you into a lot of trouble when you're talking to people, but this is true. And I definitely see this happening right now, which is the old model was to come up with an idea and protect it before you shared it with anybody because you were going to make something with that idea. But the problem is now the world is moving too fast. You do not have time to do that. And also your first, second, and probably 10th idea is probably not worth protecting it with intellectual property, because you need to build up your clout and your reputation, and also your ability to kind of resonate with other people. So when I'm advising new creators, I say, they're like, shouldn't I protect my idea? I was like, you should be so lucky that somebody comes after you or tries to imitate your work. That is like the sign that you have made it. So now that doesn't mean that you forego intellectual property and protecting the idea at some point, but the main goal is for shareability, spreadability, and be known for the person that makes whatever it is that is the kind of content that you want to make or the things that you want to make, and then get protected later. This is all, so these are very basic books that are used in a lot of arts practices. The first one was called Steal Like an Artist, which is pretty funny because almost everything that we all do is built from all the art and all the things that we have consumed before. Our head is just the transformer as opposed to the artificial intelligence pre-trained transformer. So that's one thing. And then also, instead of protecting your work and not ever sharing it with people, you need to share it as, now it's common to share the process while you're making something before it's even finalized because you're growing your fan base as you do that. Um, so labor to leverage. This is, you know, pretty obvious, I guess, which is that, we're not, and if we're talking about film studios, there are at least 100 studios have popped up in the past 2 years that are 1 to 5 people studios that are not completely doing the work that a Hollywood crew would do, but doing a lot of the work that a Hollywood crew would do. And this is what is you see what's happening is the teams are getting smaller. You don't need physical space. You don't even need massive computers at this point in time because there's so much cloud compute that even the investment in massive computers is, until you've really got a good workflow of people and guaranteed revenue income, you can build up just by using cloud compute as opposed to investing in a lot of high-end NVIDIA computers and all of that. Because also with labor to leverage, you also can be running, it's not just a linear process anymore. You can be running multiple agents or multiple AI interfaces at the same time while generating the kind of content that you're creating. And the truth is, this is glorious to be able to bring a whole film crew to Petra, but the budgets are not going to approve this anymore. You're not going to be able to bring a huge crew to Petra and house them and feed them and fly private jets in for all the main actors when a group of 4 or 5 people can build something really similar. Not everything, and I'm not saying that everything is going to be done with computers and AI, but a lot of what can be done is going to be done because the cost benefit is just too good. So this, you don't really need to read this except for that I'm going to show any of you all who are educators some labor to leverage.
This is where the next activity comes in. Idea Browser. You're going to take the problem or venture idea that feels closest to your unique access and run it through some data. First,
okay, the first thing was the script. This is just a artificially generated version of me saying that script. I never said that. And so now even faculty can have their presentations automated. So any script I want to put in, she, which is me, trained on 2 minutes of me, can say it. And it's indistinguishable from, actually recording myself. So these are the kinds of labor to leverage that is happening and I'm not saying, so I always tell my students what I'm doing. And this is, we make a joke about, I make them find the places where it was AI generated, but this is where the world is going for a lot of content. Okay, so workflow to world building. And this goes back to Henry Jenkins and all of the people who've been saying build worlds, transmedia, and not everything needs to be a full world. But when the great thing is, and this is just about digital content in general, once something is made in the digital world, it can be reused, expanded upon, turned into 3D, they're just remixed, reused, given to the fans. So, now that we are creating content that's digital and that has these power tools of AI with them, we can reuse that content and do all kinds of things with that content. So it's important to think about that even in the beginning of whatever you're creating. Yeah, because and then also just the way that we create can be done, components of it can be done in all different, in parallel, as in parallel processing, and it doesn't have to be done linearly. And even I teach a lot of AI filmmaking, and sometimes just coming in with straight with the story and then breaking it down and then hiring the characters, that is that was done because it had to be done that way. But you can also do it where you sort of imagine scenarios and get the character to start talking and speaking, and then deciding sort of what the good uh, plot devices might be. So it doesn't have to be done in this linear process anymore. Um, yeah, and then here's just some of the power tools that are allowing 3D worlds to be built so much more quickly. This is just a character that I made in Midjourney. Then I brought it into Meshy, which is an AI 2D to 3D tool, and then it can turn the this character into a 3D character that can then be rigged and be voiced very easily with AI. So all of a sudden, something that it was a very complicated, weeks-long task is a 5-minute task that I can do on my own. And that's just, for a lot of things. This is in for doing 3D worlds. You just take a picture. This is one image, and it all of a sudden becomes a skybox, any picture that you want. And then this can be loaded into Unreal Engine. And these are other examples of worlds that come on the platform itself. And yeah, and so now people are sharing their worlds that you can generate. So Uh, yeah, and then back to sort of the business model of the things. So world building, Netflix is recognizing, you start to watch what Netflix is doing. They're getting into games. They've also bought the two largest malls in the United States. I think one's in Dallas or Houston, and one's in, I think, New Jersey. But they're basically creating live action spin-offs of all of their properties. So now you can have, dinner in the Stranger Things, underworld, or Bridgerton, dances, and every single one of their IP they're activating into live performances. And so that is a direction that is clearly many people are headed in. Yeah, so that's the thing. So instead of static pipelines, now also sort of when something is done, a movie is completed, a game is done, they can be alive because you can infuse intelligence into all the things that you create, where, even your non-player characters can talk back to the player. You can add in new characters and keep building on your the stories or the worlds that you've built with the new intelligence that keeps coming on board. Okay, and then audience to ecosystem. So this is where, again, these are theories that have been in play for a long time, but it's really happening now, which is where your consumers or your viewers or your fans are now participants in the content that you create, even if they're just people who cheer you on as you create, or to the point where they add in some characters or storylines or remix your content, but consumers are asking for more involvement and engagement, and it's more doable because of all of the ease with which AI allows us to create content like that. Some examples. Oh, so on the left is a project that I'm doing with the Georgia Aquarium, where participants come in and they say some kind of sea creature and the type of clothing, and and then the material that it's made of, it makes that clothing, it goes up on a large screen, and then we animate it on the walkway, on a catwalk. So that museums are great places to see where some of this stuff sort of comes alive. And then the other place where fans as co-creators is Fable Studios, which has got this program called Showrunner, which now it started off with mostly you can kind of see these sort of South Parky looking characters who are all in the public domain. And so you can tell stories as long as it's, and they're all sort of spoofs so that that you can use those characters, and you create these scenarios. You pick the different characters, you say the scenario that you want to have happen, and it generates the animation for you with the dialogue. You can go in and tweak it as much as you want. Then that is on they're using Discord right now. That is on their Discord, and they go through and select the ones that they like or the storylines that they like. But what they look for most is not how many people view it, but how many people remix your idea. So that is the sign of resonance or connection, is when people want to remix your stuff. We now have seen that Sora, the new video creation platform or the new edition of the video creation platform for OpenAI, allows cameos, which is where you scan your face, and then you can be. That's how I made that skeuomorphic video where I'm parachuting in the volcano. You can put your own face in, but if you're my friend, then I can do a cameo and put you in there with me. So anybody who's agreed, and then I can get 5 friends and we can have cameos. So this whole remix culture is pretty intense right now. Okay, yeah. So this is just, I just didn't know really where to put this, but I've talked about a lot of tools, and this is a really great graphic that lets you know the different types of AI tools that people are using. It's due for an update, but in development, there's writing, there's rapid prototyping, there's storyboarding. And then there's image generation, video generation, voice generation, lip syncing, music. Then the 3D, there needs to be a whole one just on 3D at this point in time, that I'm hoping to work with the folks that made this to make this more extensive. You can upscale any image you want with Topaz and get really high quality, really resolute content, AI editing. And then this area over here, which we did do a deep dive in Comfy UI this summer. These areas where you're running a lot of these tools on your own computer, not using, just using open source content. Sort of the Blender model is another angle that things are going in. Oh, here's another person. Oh yeah.
Filmmaker, creative technologist, artist, or just curious. In one day, you can create a complete short film using generative AI and walk out with a finished project for your portfolio. Join us at Georgia Story Lab, located at Athena Studios in Athens, for the AI Filmmaking Intensive. This is a one-day workshop designed to transform curiosity into capability. Led by Elizabeth Strickler, co-founder of the Creative Media Industries Institute at Georgia State and speaker at South by Southwest, TEDx, and NFT NYC, you'll master the full AI pipeline with 2 decades of media innovation expertise behind you. Story development, image and video generation, AI music and sound design, from concept to final cut. Music video, animation, commercial, live action narrative, you choose the story. We provide the tools, templates, and personal guidance in a small group setting. One day, real skills, your film. Scan the QR code now to register.
So that was those were all films made in one day in the workshop, and these are some people who've never made a film or never used AI, all the way to people who've made lots of films and used lots of AI. But just kind of letting you all know that that's it's super doable. And again, I know I'm talking a little bit more about the film world, and I'm going to go through really quick recommendations, and then I want to have a conversation. So yeah, so the cost of creating content's going down. So how do you differentiate, find personal connection, talk about your own uniqueness? This is something I'm always trying to figure out is micropayments, peer-to-peer, fan to artist. So these are the areas of opportunity that I'm talking about here. These are some interesting places where there's stuff to have happen. Yeah, not being on platforms, creating like, I don't know, something just like we did with the aquarium. It's very easy for people to go onto a platform and, go to Midjourney and create an image, but kind of creating wrappers around a specific event or a specific area, adding some unique content or qualities to your projects by using APIs in the back end. Lots of opportunity there. Yes, the rise of the tangible experience, which is, what many people in the immersive experience world are talking about. Personalized, again, putting when somebody walks up to something and they put their name in or maybe get a photo taken, then content is created with them as the main characters. Any kind of customization that's specific to the user, that makes it a new to the world experience. One of the things I'm seeing a ton of, something that I'm actually doing, is in order to kind of connect with your audience or your group of people, workshops, education, because kind of at this point in time, everybody is learning is sort of I think learning is a new, we call it edutainment, but learning is an ongoing thing that many people are clamoring for now. So this is something that I see a lot of groups of people and even studios doing, is working on education. Yeah, digital avatars and virtual performances. There's whole space in this, Tilly Norwood and the different musicians that are all virtual. One of our students has a whole virtual musician performer who has his own TikTok and is getting tons of following. And that's a student. So there's a lot of stuff going on in that space. Yeah, and also, yeah, just back to leaning into your weird, getting known for the kind of thing or the kind of content that you talk about, that you teach about, that you show how to use, being consistent, all the things that we talk about in really more in social media than we do in traditional media, but unfortunately all media is social now. Um, and yeah, we keep thinking this is going to get commercial success at some point in time. And, I think that now is the time because of the AI tools and the ability to generate this stuff more quickly, more, uh, yeah, more cost effective. I think that this is that time. And yeah, so we're back to this. And really, I just want to stop and just have a conversation. Let me stop sharing. Yeah, so I just wonder if anybody has things to add or things to ask, talk about.
I had a quick question, Elizabeth.
Yeah,
Well, first of all, thanks a lot. It's nice to know that somebody is so articulately tracking how this is working because a lot of times, excuse me, I feel like everything is shiny and interesting and awesome to me, but I don't have a roadmap as to what kind of feeds into what, and also maybe which things I should be paying attention to, and which things I should maybe put on the back burner for a minute. So thank you for walking us through that. I love the way that you put that all together. But my question is, and mainly just kind of like what your experience is, because I definitely look at you as the expert here, is what kind of advice do you give to students who come into your classroom that maybe have a tool or a platform or even like an example of something that they want to do using a software that you don't have a lot of experience with? Do you do you have the latitude to try to like learn what those tools are, or do you kind of say, oh, this is an image generator, you can also do this here, which is something I've used a lot and I've got documentation for, and maybe even we subscribe to in our lab or whatever. uh I always feel like sometimes I what do I want to say? Like I'm just curious if you have that experience in your lab and what you tell a student who says, I saw this thing, they made it with this, can I do this?
yeah. I mean, I think we all have that even beforehand. I mean, like I teach Wix and they want to use these other tools, but it's exponential now. And what I also have a really bad problem with is that, you know, these tools cost money. And and then I have to pick one and I have to tell them this is the one that you either have to buy or this is the one I've gotten you free credits on or but just like editors, like Adobe Premiere versus Final Cut versus CapCut, whatever, they're so similar that all I have to do is maybe a chat GPT to kind of ask the right question because I know the right questions to ask that they often don't. So now I am a master of taking a screen grab of anything that I need tech support for and then putting it into one of these to get some tech support. But it just sort of depends on how precise I'm going to be about the work. But and I haven't taught a specifically AI class until next semester. I'm teaching one. It's based on this talk. It's called AI in the Creative Industries, the Art and Business. And we're reading a business book. We're reading Doug Shapiro's book as we go through so that I can put some kind of rigor behind it as I go. But I'm going to be doing sprints that they're going to do in the class with me, with the tool that I'm providing. Yeah. But it's a conundrum dealing with the tools.
Yeah, I suppose the video editing one is a good comparison. If I go back to when I was teaching those classes, you're right. It's kind of a Chevy and Ford type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Jason.
Hi there, Elizabeth. Great to meet you officially. I was at the last meeting. We were kind of like talking about what we should do with the Agog money and what
Oh,
the
right.
journal should look like.
Yeah, yeah.
I missed the introduction part, but I come about this through Aaron Riley as well. And So there's a couple of pieces that you're talking about that just absolutely like send my mind into a spin. So I just finished my master's at U of O in a brand new immersive media communication program. So which they're challenged with perhaps naming it emerging media communication rather than immersive. So that right there is kind of an example of what we're going through. But I met Aaron at the immersive summit a couple of years ago. So my challenge is you mentioned, leaning into the weird and this idea of IP and then in the same breath how someone like Netflix is using this IP and about leaning into the weird and also you mentioned like with musicians making their money in the real. So I'm just like I find myself like swaying on the importance of immersive and so I'm making LBARs location-based augmented reality experiences. But I don't know, I can't get away from the idea that as we get more and more sort of a certain uniformity that comes with AI, that we won't be attention will be searching for real experiential economy, real things.
Oh
But
yeah, yeah. I mean, I definitely think that what I'm saying. These are shifts that I'm seeing happen. We're mid shift, and all already artisanal, handcrafted. I made every pixel is already a highly valued thing. I think that at Comic-Con there was a big placard that said nothing can be AI generated here or something along those lines. It was more specific than that, but so I definitely think that we will be navigating all of this for a long time. And I just say make those choices intentionally, and I'm coming at it more as a person advising people who are trying to make money in this industry, right? So I want to make sure that that is an understood framing of how this was presented, right? Because there's a lot of things that we're all doing. Quite frankly, I think AI is a medium. I think that it is the game. Like just spending 2 hours in the evening making weird stuff with your whoever you're with no intention of an audience other than that is enough, is a medium in and of itself. So yeah. And I don't know the answers to all of this. I just think that you just need to know the tension between and which choice you're making.
absolutely, I appreciate that. Yeah, I guess it wasn't really a framed question. It's something I'm absolutely spun out on, and so just curious of your feedback, and I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. It's just as hard as it ever has been, even though the tools make things easier, but it's made everything easier for everybody. So where's your niche? Yeah. Yeah, Elizabeth.
Yeah, hi. I don't know if I have a question per se, but I keep just a week ago, one of the reasons I can't get to the IXA meetings is because our faculty meetings overlap. And so last week in a faculty meeting, we have I'm in cinema and television arts, in an emerging media program, and we have many faculty teaching both film and television who have been there for decades, and they are purists and they are losing their minds, like really freaking out. Um, and I've integrated Meshi and Runway and some of these tools into my courses. And I also have students who are um, sometimes oddly enough, somewhat resistant. They also want to learn it by hand, whatever that whatever that might mean. And I'm just curious what kind of resistance, if any, you've come up against and how you sort of, answer those questions. It's not going away, right? That's what everyone says, but how do we kind of merge these two ways of thinking and working? I'm curious if you have
Yeah.
thoughts on that.
I mean, I do, and it is a huge issue. I mean, we've got some real splits in our department as well. And what, one of the things is I've offered for anybody that wanted to take my AI filmmaking class because it's external to the university because they couldn't get because they can't move fast enough is the problem. So I've offered for them to just come and taste it. Like you don't have to like it, but taste it or at least understand sort of what is going on and what the capabilities are. I mean, I think that that goes for all of us for many things, right? It's just we can't put your head in the sand for the internet or for web or for social media. You don't have to like it. You don't even have to use it, but you do have to kind of know it. So that's one of the things that we're trying to do is we're trying to have in the faculty meeting where someone will come each week. It could even be the person who doesn't like AI and wants to kind of make the case for it. But you have to join the conversation. And I am many of us who are the bright, shiny, sparkly new people that love everything new and stuff. I'm trying to be as listening and really trying to understand perspectives. And I think that it takes that, but the conversation has to be had, is what we're saying. And we have students who are also quite resistant as well. And so we say at the beginning, this is the class, these are the tools that will be used, these are the outcomes, and so they can choose. I talked to a woman a couple of months ago who had people walk out of her class. And it was like I think it was a master's program, and the students all walked out of the class and refused to take it. Yeah, it looks like Jonathan might have something to add here.
Yeah.
I do actually. So I've got a piece that I've heard about recently called Ancestra. It's by Eliza McNitt, who's the creator of Spheres, which is was the first virtual reality experience to be purchased at a large film festival. And she created this short film using essentially a new workflow that's combining traditional filmmaking and AI filmmaking. She made it with the team at Google behind VO3. And I think this is a way that we sort of maybe find a conversation between those who are antagonized or really dislike AI and those who are, kind of running forward and seeing what they can create with it. And she's kind of like saying, well, what is it that can, where are there these feedback loops? How do they augment each other? And so I think that provides some really interesting ways of being able to essentially crosstalk between potentially two different creator communities who have different languages, different values, and to create a shared vocabulary, even of aesthetics, to be able to talk about one or the other. I've been thinking about this a lot because I've been curating an AI poster art and video art exhibition at the University of Maryland. And so suddenly, like our co-curator and other jury panelists had to really kind of go, well, how do you evaluate something that is AI generated or is talking about AI, especially if the process that's gone through to make that artifact is opaque. You don't know what tools they use. You don't know how much is AI versus how much is traditional making. And so you're sort of left to try to evaluate it with what feels like incomplete information. And I'll throw it sort of like one thing that's a bit related to this is a great paper by Rebecca Roos called Media of Attraction. And I'll see if I can look it up. But her argument here is basically saying that there are these new forms of media that pop up, whether it was when film started or VR and now AI, that when they're looked at when they start when they're sort of nascent and you get these skeuomorphisms, they're sort of saying, oh, well, that's before it sort of figured it out and before it was good. And then, film as it developed, then it became better and it had its own language. And she sort of says, no, there's actually a set of aesthetics that's specific to that phase of a new piece of media where it is kind of this weird stitched together Frankenstein thing where you can see the seams. And so I do kind of wonder how that might be applied as we're looking at AI films. And I think really fits into what you were saying, Elizabeth, about find your weird. Like, what is it that this does that you can't do in another medium? So let's see if I can find that paper just to sort of like add that into the conversation.
Yeah, definitely. Please do. I also I shared a link to my Notion website that's got like a lot of these tools, and I'll continue to add them and try to be thoughtful about it. But I've got like a really short, like thoughtful one sheet approach to AI that's really just 5 simple points that I share with people on there. Just uh, you know, just to try to help people kind of navigate. Like you said, I love that we're in the in between right now. We might always be in the in between or the seams, but yeah, it's a hard world to navigate. Sean.
Sorry, I had a mute button. First of all, I want to thank you. This is a great talk. And Elizabeth, I think you do an amazing job in really bringing things together. In fact, I love your statement about bring your own weird. I think the challenge that I have, and I would love to understand from your perspective, how do you draw the line of, is your weird a collection of other people's weird that's been collected all over the internet? Or is it some original weird content that you produce from the ground up that makes you special? And I think the biggest thing that we celebrate, whether it's in film or artistry, is when someone really builds something from the ground up, because it makes it unique and individualistic to that person. And with AI, are we training people to really look at other people's weird and do a collection of those things? Or how do we invoke people to actually build content from the ground up that makes things special? Because I feel like we're trying to generate content that really, what AI tells people what they want to see, whether or building original content that makes it kind of a unique experience. And I'm curious on, how do you divide those two things while still pushing AI tools in that aspect?
Yeah, I don't know the exact answer to this, but it's interesting because I teach both creativity, but I also teach business. And in business, it's kind of the same thing, because I'm like, look for the problem that you want to solve in the world. And most typically, the problem you want to solve in the world has something to do with your own personal journey. It might have to do with the fact that you got diabetes when you were a kid and you're super interested in, I don't know, something weird about medicine or something along those lines. So I do think that uh, getting people to excavate their own selves is always an important activity in whenever we're doing creative work. And again, the problem is that if you just use the algorithm of how to make money, and then you get an agent to make 500 videos a day, and then you get another agent to check which one has the most spreadability, it's going to make something mid that probably will make money and be crap and awful, And so where do we fit into that? I personally don't want to do that, and I don't want to teach people to do that, but that is doable. Um, and and so I guess that's just the world we're going to be navigating for a while. And one of the things that like in my AI filmmaking class, they have to come with a story. They have to answer a bunch of questions, and I turn that into like a treatment. And then we put that treatment into something that kind of helps storyboard stuff. So I kind of start with questions to them. But again, finding your own weird is a maturation process. And that's, I think, for all of us who teach any form of creativity, that's a struggle we've always had. But it's going to be, it's a bigger hill to climb, I think, now, because you can get something so good and so mid right from the get-go.
Yeah, I always say AI is really great at mediocre. And so it's like, you want to push content that's way better. And maybe AI just really needs to be stay in its own lane as far as being the tool to take original content and get faster to the final output that you want to share with your audience. And I think that's where, like a calculator, right? It's not going to change you building math equations, but it's going to help you do the math so you can get there faster. And I think that original content is going to be super special. And I would love to see students still have that fire in their belly to create that original content versus relying on endless content eventually looks the same, over time.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the other thing that I do is, I'll see. I'll let y'all know after I teach the class next semester. But I'm stunned at how unique each of the pieces of content are that people create in the filmmaking class. But also, you get students who come to your filmmaking class and they create pretty mid, and their goal is kind of mid for whatever reason. I don't really know. Um, yeah, not everybody's as weird as everybody else.
Elizabeth, I just had a hot take also. Like, what happens when, if we reach that point where AI is training on AI is training on AI, it's eating its own tail, and then us as creators are just out there making content to train the AI, using our weird, our creativity to feed that machine. I don't know. I think if we're talking business models, there's got to be something there about being a creator that's maybe we're an AI trainer. Maybe education is AI training. I don't know.
I mean, I think we're in a pretty weird place, and I think we might even already be close to where you just said right there. I'm reading the book called "If Anyone Builds It, Everyone Dies," and it's pretty. Woo, it's pretty dire. So yeah, I think talking with each other, even though probably AI could probably tell me, better my question about what's the best way to navigate teaching and authenticity in the age of AI. But I'm still enjoying your mustache and your glasses and having this conversation. That's as weird as that is. Maybe that's just what we're doing. Yeah. Um, okay, well, we're at 5:05, so I really appreciate you all coming, and we're going to send out more information about really kind of trying to build up the IXA Alliance. Invite your friends next. So we're going to start membership in the new year. We haven't really started. Aaron's going to give us some amazing frameworks on immersive next week that I'm really excited about. So I highly recommend you all come and
Next
reach
month, right,
out.
Elizabeth?
That's
Next month?
next month. Yeah,
Yeah.
next month. I said that next week, next month. Sorry. And we'll keep you all posted, and would love to hear feedback from you all. And we really want to start building up a great community because we got to fight this big old AI monster.
This is
Oh
my
yeah.
first time here. I was just curious. So do you have like a calendar of when you meet, or
Oh
how?
yeah, it's on the IXAlliance website. Let me put it up there. Uh, we keep at least 3 months ahead of what's going on.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah, so you'll be able to see and yeah,
And are you going to just send out another meeting reminder, or how does that all work?
yeah. We'll send out a meeting reminder of anybody that's participated in any of our Zooms. So we'll do that, and yeah,
Great. Oh,
yeah.
I'm so excited. I'm really happy to connect with everybody. It's great.
Yeah, well, this is great. Thank you, Ruth. Thanks everybody for joining, and we'll
Thank you.
yeah, we'll try to keep you all posted. Reach out to us if we don't.
Yep.
Okay.
Great. Great.
Thank you
Great.
so much.
Cheers.
Great. Thank y'all. See ya.
Bye.